Greetings YouTube, Simon here, welcome back to the channel. And okay, the demo for Final Fantasy VII Remake is now available to download and play, and you can do that if you haven't already. But I've actually got some footage here for you, taken from the Final Fantasy Japan YouTube channel. I'll leave a link to that in the video description. And this is actual footage from later on in the game, after the events of the demo. I believe this is taken from Chapter 7, if I'm understanding things correctly. And this is from the party's assault on Mako Reactor number 5. So this does occur, of course, in the original game, and we begin with this image here of sliding down the pipes. So I thought we could just get into it, have a look at it, and discuss it together and see what we think. So without any further ado, here's the footage. It is, of course, all in Japanese, but I think I've got a good idea of what's going on, so I might just update you as we go here. Yeah, so what's happening then at this point is, and members of the press have played this part of the game, which is how we can know, is that the party are going through Mako Reactor number 5, and they've encountered the Techo-Soldier Airbuster itself right here, but it's in a dormant state. It's not been activated. And that's because Shinra are currently trying to power this thing up, and it's going to take a lot of energy, and that's going to be important to note for later on. But for now, the party are just discussing the fact that, hey, it's a good job that this thing is inactive because it looks pretty darn tough. Of course, things are about to change. So we have a couple of fights here with the normal soldiers, but this is where things get important because it's from these soldiers that the party is going to be able to collect various key cards. And this is going to be a really unique boss fight coming up against Airbuster, and these key cards are going to have a big part to play in that boss fight, or at least in preparation for the boss fight. And we can see in this room here, we've got all the plans and what have you for Airbuster in place. And what's going to happen now, you can see on the left-hand side of the screen there, how there's various weapons that have been activated and defense systems and whatnot on the Airbuster robot, and what we can do is use the key cards we've collected from the soldiers to actually go ahead and deactivate various components of the Airbuster boss. In other words, we can make it a little bit easier, but we only have a limited number of key cards, so we can only deactivate a certain number of systems, and the player is going to have to actually choose which parts of Airbuster they turn off for the fight. So you might turn off various defense systems, you might turn off various weapons or stun mechanics that the boss can do. You're going to have to make that choice and plan your strategy around it. And here we have the encounter itself. At least we have snippets of the encounter here. But one thing I'm wondering about is whether there's going to be certain rewards tied to how many key cards you actually use and how many systems of the boss you disable through, you know, for the course of the encounter. Maybe there's even going to be a trophy of some kind, you know, tied to the fact that you might be able to defeat the boss without disabling anything. I suspect it's kind of like a hard mode encounter then, and would be very, very difficult, but just some thoughts I've got going through my mind about that. Okay, so what's interesting to note from what we can tell from this boss fight is that unless the enemy is staggered here, it's actually completely immune to all forms of damage from the front. And I believe this has been confirmed by the press that have played this section of the game as well. So you do need a party member in the front because you need somebody tanking Airbuster, because if you don't have that, he'll just turn around to face the party. But once you've got somebody tanking him, then you can go ahead and use your other two party members to do damage from behind until you get it into that staggered state, and then you can just unleash absolutely everything against it. And the whole time throughout this encounter, I really love the fact you've got Heidegger and Shinra, the holograms of those characters just taunting the party. Of course, in the original Final Fantasy VII, you had Shinra, didn't you? And he wasn't present for the encounter, but he did introduce you to the latest weapons development of the company, of the organisation, as Techo-Soldier, as he was introduced there. And Cloud took it quite personally that a robot, a machine, could actually be called a soldier, which was the highest honour, really, for any Shinra military personnel to be designated that kind of rank, as he had been. But we can see as well, I think, with this fight, along with the guard, no, the Scorpion Sentinel, gotta try and remember how names have changed here, the Scorpion Sentinel and the Axe encounter, how boss fights are really going to be these massive events in and of themselves. You know, one of the things with the original Final Fantasy VII is that boss fights were generally quite easy. It was an easy game overall, but if there's anything that I've discovered, you know, by playing the demo and seeing some of the footage we've seen here, is that this game actually looks bleeding hard. It really, really does. I know a lot of people have been complaining about the fact that classic mode is just far too easy and it's only tied to easy difficulty, and I do get that. It'd be nice if we could have that tied to a normal difficulty as well somehow, but I do think classic mode in its current iteration is actually needed, because there's going to be a lot of people struggling with this and are going to be put off from the get-go when they're just getting absolutely destroyed. I know, you know, some of you are pro gamers and that's not going to happen, but there are, you know, casual gamers as well that are going to be picking up Final Fantasy VII Remake. And, you know, we do want them to get encouraged to carry on playing and to, you know, step up the difficulty when they feel the time's right. So I am all for that mode. But yeah, they've had to cut the boss encounter down here so that we can get it all in the video. One thing as well, I think it was Kotaku, maybe Jason Schreier, one of the articles that I read, said that this fight actually wiped his party, got a game over on it. It was very, very challenging. I think it was this encounter he said that happened on. So, you know, you can't take things for granted here at all. And I just love the way that each of these, you know, boss battles has multiple stages to them. And by the end, the environment itself is just practically obliterated, isn't it? It really does unleash absolutely everything here. And so does the party. You know, your thumbs are killing you by the end, aren't they? At least they were for me after the end of the Scorpion Sentinel encounter in the demo. Oh, I need to play that again. I've only played it 3 times so far. One thing as well that you can see, something else I've noted, is that unlike in the demo against the Scorpion Sentinel, the timer is actually counting down during the boss fight here. So in the demo, once you set the bomb in that first reactor, the timer doesn't actually begin to count down until the Scorpion Sentinel kind of hits it with his tail laser at the end of the encounter, and that sets the timer off. So it's probably going to be like that in the original game as well, but things have obviously stepped up here by Chapter 7, and we have the timer counting down right from the get-go. So there we have it then, guys. That's the boss fight of Airbuster, who I believe has the same name. Out of the 3 bosses we've seen, Scorpion Sentinel, Airbuster and Apps, this is the only boss to retain the same name as in the original game. But yeah, I've got to say, I'm loving what I'm seeing here. I'm really hyped, really pumped after playing the demo earlier. I cannot wait for this game to come out April 10th. But please do share your thoughts on the Airbuster encounter down in the comments below. I have got plans to cover the heck out of this game, so make sure you stick around the channel and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. But thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.